further on to start focusing on universities and their role in bringing innovators and innovations to the market. What skill sets should the graduates have to be able to thrive in the raw materials sector? Our first speaker here today is Riina Salmimies. Very much welcome. You are Dean at the Lappeenranta University of Technology, and we are very glad to have you here joining us today. If you have any questions to Riina or the other speakers that will follow, please write your comments and questions in the field close to the screen that you're looking at right now. Thank you, Riina.
Thank you very much, Mia. Thanks for enabling me to join as well here in the studio. I have 10 minutes, so I will take you through one of the stories that we've worked together with EIT Raw Materials. So these educational talks will now focus on capabilities and skills that graduates should have in order for us to make the Green Deal happen and for us to sort of enable a more sustainable European raw materials sector. Something that I think was also evident in the introduction was that the European Green Deal is not only about the change or the transformation of the energy sector, although that has been very much in the focus, especially in public discussions. But if we look at the various goals or various activities over the course of several years in the Green Deal, we understand that it's also about this planet, this Earth that we live on. And there are multiple aspects of biodiversity as well as sustainable use of raw materials. So how to develop that, especially in the European raw materials sector, is quite important for the educational sector as well and for the graduates when we educate them on various technical aspects, but also with respect to their attitudes. What kind of professionals will they become as they enter the job market? You probably all know that the OECD has predicted the doubling of raw material consumption by 2060, and we obviously need to discuss whether this is a threat or an opportunity for the industry. I think it's rather both because there are multiple paths of substitution, of course, multiple paths of more efficient raw material consumption, but we also have to be very mindful that as global population grows, the Earth might not suffice. So we might not have enough raw materials in order to satisfy the growth that we have in the developing countries, especially, but also in Western countries. We are talking about the electrification of the transport sector, which will require significant raw materials, and we have to somehow respond to that global and also local demand. There's a lot of talk about not having a planet B, but we do have to ask ourselves the question, would it be necessary? It might be necessary in the distant future for us to consider interplanetary supply chains, space mining, and other activities that are beyond the scope of what we are currently looking at. But how should then the educational sector respond to these changes, these demands? The technical content is still significant. The fundamental engineering skills and knowledge, they are still the basis of all the education that we do in technical universities. That might not be sexy, but it's still quite critical. And very often when we talk about development of new skills and new abilities, we forget that there's still the very core. We need our engineers to be very capable in terms of technical aspects. But in order for the raw material sector to respond to a changing world, we need to educate people not through learning facts by heart, but rather through attitudes. The entrepreneurial capacity that people has to be developed during education as well, and that is something that the educational sector has to respond to. These are then people who question things. They envision alternative futures, alternative paths for us to take. And this is more a matter of cognitive capabilities rather than the technical content. The technical content is still very relevant, and we are doing the right things, but we need to consider the methods by which we educate in order for us to educate the kind of people that we need to do these things that are required for our future. It's also very important through continuous learning, of course, to educate people to learn new things. So not to think that for 20 or 30 years things will remain unchanged, but rather be able to learn about digital solutions, for example, and develop new things within the sector, discuss with people from other sectors. So for example, when we look at digital solutions, very often we have to work with software engineers. But if we don't understand their world at all, it's very difficult because we talk in completely different languages, and very often the solutions that we developed are not current. But in short, the development of entrepreneurial capabilities and capacity is extremely important for the raw materials sector and for those gaining a higher education. Then there are a few case studies that I would like to highlight that have been funded by EIT Raw Materials, where we are focusing especially on these capabilities within our graduates. We have a master's level course that we've been running for a few years now, where we focus on business cases. So we have engineering students from various fields, and they, together with the business students, solve business cases. So we have technical problems, but we are not solving it from a technical aspect only, but also looking at the business case. So how to make a profitable business out of what we are trying to solve. This very often can deal with, for example, byproducts, waste materials, and we all know that it's not really easy to make a sustainable business or a profitable business out of waste materials. We've done this in collaboration with several European universities and are very thankful for the funding that EIT Raw Materials has provided for us. And all together for the past 2 years, roughly 120 participants have gone through this course. It has been highly popular within our university, and I think it is because of the business cases. So rather than doing technical content, we do business cases where we have several engineering disciplines. What is also very nice is that it's 50-50 in terms of male and female participants. So we're not only looking at male participants on those courses, but also female participation, and that is very important for the diversity of the raw materials sector. What we are now currently developing is to seek to feed the EIT jump starter in order for us to get spin-offs as well out of the master's program, or sorry, the course. We have another case where we are doing a triple degree program together with our partner in Germany, with TU Freiburg, and with our SA partners in Europe. And there the focus is pretty much on entrepreneurial capabilities in the raw materials sector. So we have entrepreneurial content and we have raw materials content within the different universities where the students then study. I'm very excited about this, and I know we have other developments as well in terms of degree programs where we combine the technical content and the entrepreneurial capabilities as well. The first cohort here started a year ago, so we will soon be seeing the first graduates. Last but not least, I would like to invite you to join a few of the developments that are ongoing. So we have a virtual workshop upcoming, organized by LUT University, and this is part of our MATEAM project, where we are developing yet another master's program dealing with entrepreneurship, innovation, and technology integration for the mining sector, and this is starting in 2023. We also have a digital educational hack coming up, organized by LUT University, and here we are getting the business cases or the hacks from 3 different companies, which are Sandvik Mining and Construction, Mevea, and Process Genius. And if you are interested in joining this, I would encourage you to contact our coordinator, Matti Lampinen. You can see his email address here. This is all I have for today. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Riina, for joining us here today.